Everybody welcome. Everybody. I want to talk about the Garment Center.
Okay, you can tell them that it's up. And the description of it, as well as the painting, is on her feed. Eileen says you are looking gorgeous as usual. Janine is here. Greg is here.
Hi. I love you all. You know what? I was thinking today of how excited I am about Facebook. And first of all, get used to this. I'm always going to wear red. Because what I keep hearing, and thank you, the last message from Dee was that the best color for me and so on. So that's going to be my uniform. And I have enough red that I can change the clothes occasionally. Okay. I had a friend who was retiring from the Garment Center, and his family wanted to give him a party, a painting of his time there, because it changed so much. So I'm going to begin by telling you about this. It's called, Kenny, can you read that word correctly? Is it kiosk or kiosk or what?
Kiosk. Mm-hmm.
Kiosk.
It's perfect.
Okay.
Now, should I be showing the drawing while you read? Show the
Yes.
drawing while you... No, you read that. I'll show the painting.
No, okay.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you need the writing?
No. I think the painting photograph is better on here.
Oh, beautiful. Sorry, folks. Oh, fantastic. Okay, good. So here, you have this that you could read it then. But you were going to read that first.
Okay.
Or I could read anything out loud. Sorry, folks.
We're amateurs. Okay. The Garment District between 25th and 41st Street and 6th and 9th Avenue has been the center of the fashion business in New York since World War I. That's when the industry moved north from the sweatshops of the Lower East Side. Now it is the home to fur showrooms, ready-to-wear apparel firms, and children's clothing manufacturers, as well as milliners, button makers, and fabric and trimming shops. The Garment District still employs recent immigrants, but instead of the 19th century Eastern Europeans, today's Garment Center workers are typically Hispanic and Asians. Other businesses have recently moved into the area, including architects and lawyers, but the neighborhood retains the bustle and congestion associated with the hundreds of small workshops and showrooms that dominate the area. I would like to explain something. I did this painting in 1990, which means it is 22 years old.
32 years old.
32. You're right, 32 years old. And all of that has changed. And I have not been there. So I just need you to know I'm giving you history. Now, originally we were also going to do some more about the Thanksgiving parade, because there was so much to show, and we didn't have it last time. But when I saw all about the Garment Center, I thought, there is going to be Thanksgiving. And why don't we do the Thanksgiving parade again and put in the things which I hadn't had time to mention at Thanksgiving? Okay? Now, let me tell you about this. Kenny's going to show this picture, and then I will read it.
Do you want me to read it?
Yes, if you read it, would be wonderful.
Who's got the button? Do I read the whole thing? Who's got the button? And I think that you can actually see...
I don't know if it's there.
Oh, no, it's not there.
Okay.
So this is the button. you've been
I
to
don't
New
know if it
York.
was ever built.
It was, yeah.
And Kenny will read to you.
That's the button. You know, the Garment Center. The Fashion Center information kiosk is to open this spring. This is from 1996 on the northeast corner of 39th Street. It's only going to be a few yards from the symbol of the area's earlier era, the garment worker, a 1984 sculpture by Judith Weller of the tailor wearing a yarmulke bent over a pedal-run sewing machine. A florist is now in that kiosk site, and you can actually barely see it, but you can kind of see that guy, that photograph of that painting of the sculpture of that big guy, larger than life, over the sewing machine. There'll be an octagonal glass paneled kiosk designed by Pentagram, and it'll be easy to spot. It'll be easy to spot because it's got a 31-foot long stainless steel sewing needle with a 2-foot eye. The needle is embedded in a rose-colored concrete pincushion, and it'll go through the hole of a 14-foot button that will form the entrance canopy. The button is a giant version of the logo of the Fashion Center Business Improvement District, which is to run the kiosk. This will be the icing on the cake, or button on the kiosk, said the executive director. We want to make the Fashion Center an easier place to navigate. And again, this is the rendering of that kiosk and the needle sculpture, which many of you know.
What I wanted to say was, I met such amazing people, and I have addresses and cards and everything, and I'm just going to let Kenny show you some of these. Because everybody wanted to be known and recognized.
Okay. And more.
There's some in back too.
Uh-huh.
And this is full of and these are cards and notes from people. And I'm going to read you one of them.
Garment Center. Faye, 81 years old, began to work in Garment Center in 1927. She worried over me. Don't get cold. Make sure you eat enough. Make sure you have a good life.
And this is important. He sent photographs, and that's his letter. He's from Brazil.
Should I read it?
Yeah.
Hi, Hedy. First of all, sorry about my English. It was nice to meet you. I liked too much to talk with you on the street. You told me lots of interesting things. I've been trying to draw again, but it's very hard. Today is the last day of the year, and in this day I found time to write a small letter to you. Here is your I can't read the word picture. Your hand, your art. Happy New Year, Mauricio. Oh, this is fabulous.
I know.
Oh, okay. Her hand, her art. And details. Amazing, amazing details. Woohoo! Ah. And one more. This is a continuation of the last one. It's a photo shoot. The whole thing is a photo shoot in the Garment Center.
And this is his address.
And this is his address.
Isn't this great?
It is great.
That goes in there. Okay, now let me read you this. What got to me was the statue of the old man with the yarmulke sitting at the sewing machine. People literally adopted him. I would like to read one of the things I read in the newspaper about it. Dear Diary, on 39th Street and 7th Avenue, there is a statue honoring my ancestor, a man in a skull cap bent over a sewing machine. Twice a week. Kenny, would you read it?
Mm-hmm.
I clipped it from the newspaper.
Twice a week, when I walk from my job in Chelsea to my second job on the Upper West Side, I stop to commune with him. At other times I wonder, what's he thinking? Is he chanting prayers? Planning a union strike? One night, a painfully cold night in a mild winter, a teardrop hung from his nose, and his eyebrows were white with frost. What was it like in those drafty lofts? Could he wear gloves in his job? Only then did I notice a woman's leather glove pressed carefully over the fingers of his right hand. I continued my walk comforted to know that the owner of that glove was out there in the world with me.
Isn't that beautiful? Okay, I'd like to tell you, let's leave people out for a minute and let me explain how I did this painting. Okay? I wanted the statue in it. And incidentally, I found out about the sculptors, a woman, and I have all kinds of information. But this is how I began the painting.
Wow.
I know. There he is sitting.
Yes.
And I'd like you to see the person sitting there also.
Yes. And
Because
now I'm going to go back, but I'm just going to show this. Wagons with materials and dresses. People pushing them across the street. People throughout. Mom, could you hold this up with both your hands?
sure.
Could you pull it back even a little toward you? Fabulous. Yeah.
You see, the area was so vast, and there's so much I needed to put in that I didn't dare begin until I figured out where what would go. And that could only be done by sitting on the street. Okay? Now, the woman sitting, a person sitting there is a tree and a bench, a curved bench around it, a circular bench. And I need you to understand the homeless. Can you see it? Is it in the photo?
I don't see it in the photo, but I'll show it on here.
Yeah. I need to explain that area. This over here. You see this wonderful round bench? For me it was great because I could sit and paint in it. On it I had a platform for my stuff and comfortable seat. And one day I came and it was gone. And I said to the guards, where did it go and why did it go? And he said, the homeless were sleeping on it, so people felt that if visitors come, it's not a good thing. And they took it away. Another place for the homeless to be taken away. And as you know, I've worked with the homeless. I have so many drawings. And later on, I'm going to show you a photograph of one of the homeless people, and I want to tell you the story. Should we show the photographs now?
Sure.
Okay. We being my wonderful son. First of all, look how gorgeous the women look. These are the people who work there, whom I met there. No, he's a person too. The one you just put back.
Yeah, you tell me.
Show them all.
Show them all. Okay.
Because these are the people. Yup. You see, that area is so New York. It shows people of all clothing, all signs, all color. And when we get to the beautiful model who's posing on the sidewalk, we came to be very close friends. And her husband is a designer. Oh, this is my homeless woman. Okay. Okay, let me tell you her story. She was sitting there and somebody gave her a bag. And she looked at it and smiled, said thank you. And then somebody else came and she gave him the bag. And I went to her and I said, why did you get a bag from somebody and why did you give it away? She says, that's easy. People always give me things. Those were apples. But I had to give them away because I ain't got no teeth. And that story got to me because, and I remember when I would go for muffin and coffee, I would bring her one at the same time. And she said to me, she looked at me with my dungarees and my knapsack, and she says, no, honey, you keep it. You look like you need it. Those are the stories that make me homesick for sitting in the street again. Okay, I love her. She's from Denmark, and the man in the next photos who's crouched and watching her is her husband. And I said at that time, yup, he's also a designer, and he works in the building. And I said to her, your husband, because this is a time of the segregation of New York, which made me so unhappy. And I said, how did your family feel when you married somebody of a different color? She says, oh, it's only here in America that people are so prejudiced. My parents love him. In Denmark, you don't have the segregation you have here. And so these are the stories I want to show you. Because slowly but surely, we're trying to work on eliminating the segregation here in my city. I think that's an actor. See, in the garment center, everything is mixed.
Duplicates, the rest are duplicates.
Okay. Let me put them back. Because today, I'm not only going to speak of the garment center. I have been bothered very much. Oh, by the way, this is about the statue called the Garment Worker, the sculpture, and it was given by the city. But I called her when I saw her name and could find a phone number. I called her and I said, do you know how your statue is loved? People call him the Zayde or El Abuelo. One is Yiddish for the grandfather, and the other one is Spanish for it. And she got very upset. She says, you are using my painting, my sculpture, to get money? And I said, no. It's a painting for somebody of the garment center. It's not to collect money for your painting. She said, well, just make sure if there's any money that you're making, it should go to me. Which I did include in my story, because you don't meet only friendliness in the streets. Which brings me to the next topic. Okay? Any comments?
Yes, a good number of comments. Carol Hockton, I'll start from the top down. Paula Lokshin loves your glasses. Eileen Cutler says, it's so cool that you've saved all this essential information, Hedy. My father spent his working life there, taking the Long Island Railroad each morning. He was a coat salesman, and he rarely complained. And Gail Golderman says, wow, seeing all of this. Carol Hotkin is watching, Ed Weidman is watching, and Ed Weidman says, you are amazing, Hedy. And Paula Lokshin asked, these photos are amazing. Who is the photographer?
People on the street. Me?
Was it you? Yeah.
I think so, yes.
Yes, Hedy.
From you, that's a real compliment.
And so that is what Paula said. And Carol said, Hedy, I love your stories. Only you can make me laugh and cry at the same time.
Okay, I hope what I'm going to speak about now will affect us all. Because I have been so bothered about the news lately. It's as if you're fattening up the animal before the kill. When I speak of the news, I'm not speaking of newspapers. I'm speaking of television. It's as if they gathered all the bad things that we have done and lumping them together in the front. And then you go to another channel, the same thing is repeated over and over and over again, as if to make me realize that the world is not worth living in. And I'm going to use my spot in Facebook to balance everything. Everything that you hear on the news is true, but they give no solutions. Let me give you the solutions. The people I know, the people I've met. At the moment, trans people are under attack. It's Pride Month, we show flags, we do all the things, but laws are being passed. Don't say gay, things like that. Everybody is made of mixtures. There is nobody who is gay or trans or this or that without thousands of other little things that they are made of. Vegetables, fruits, the sky, nature is balanced. What you put in, you get back. If all we put in is hate and anger, we're getting it back. I have met, and have in my family, so many people who now are called trans. Before that, they were called other names, mostly derogatory, just as people of color. I am Jewish, and I was a perfectly happy, normal human being until Hitler came. And then suddenly I wasn't allowed to be in school any longer, not public schools. Suddenly, we escaped. And there came a day when my husband and my kids said, "Mom, you have to go back. You have to go back to find out." The hate was only one part. Vienna is still the Vienna it was. And we went back. And the Vienna was not only better, it was wonderful. And I'm going to, perhaps next week, but not until I notify the people like Herbert, Neusiedler, and others that I'm going to be doing it. But because my son understands about technology, he made sure that we are going to have YouTube. And this wonderful woman, when she's finished, does my YouTube for me. And because of technology, I can have the people in Vienna listen when I rave about them. And you see, when I say we're being fattened for the kill, first hate is spread, and then the enemy is handed over in a platter. And I don't want it to be trans people. And I don't want it to be anybody with hate. Let's us change the world. What we put in. Oh, by the way, Ed, when I didn't want to wear the beret, I love the way I look in it. But I would be assuming a title of I belong to the art world. I don't really. I belong to the world that is going to balance it. And so, I would like you all, when you leave this program, to even it up. I'll tell you a very quick story. Do I have time for a quick one? Okay. Eric loved motorcycles. And because of that, I was very often called, "Hedy, could you pick me up?" I had a slight little accident, so don't worry. But I'm on this corner. But the motorcycle isn't working anymore. And I went with my mother to the rehab where he had gone after he got hurt. No, not much, but got hurt. And there was a woman sitting in a wheelchair. And my mother, who is a volunteer in the hospital, she went over to the woman and talked. And then we went up to see Eric and we comforted him and told him, "I know you can fix the motorcycle. And the aches will go away." And we went downstairs and the woman wheeled herself over to my mother And she said, "Today you saved my life." And my mother looked at her and she says, "What do you mean?" She said, "Nobody comes to see me. Nobody talks to me. It's as if I didn't exist. And today I decided I would take extra medication and die. But then you spoke to me and you asked me how I am. And I decided if people exist who care for me, I won't die today." I needed to add this. All of you can put something in. Don't just take. I love you all.
And you have a few other comments. Carol Hodkin says, one other comment. Carol Hodkin says, a few. Carol Hodkin says, "I too worked in the garment center in the Coke building for 4 years. And Stephen Schlussel just said, "I almost missed you. I just turned this on." And Ed is watching too.
I love you all. I'll see you next week. Thank you.